to talk. And boy, oh boy, has Trump laid it out. He's laid it out. And, these hostages that Hamas are releasing, President Trump is right. They look like they've come out of concentration camps. It's awful. And they are releasing them way too slow. They have no reason to even have a hostage, not one. And certainly no excuse to keep holding these people they shouldn't have had in the first place. But what Hamas is doing, they're dragging out the release of these hostages for a couple of reasons. One, welcome Thailand. They don't realize that America's back with President Trump. They think they're playing games with these past presidents. Okay, that's a big mistake on their part. And the other thing Hamas is doing that is the reason they're dragging this out, if you've seen any of these releases, they make a big ceremony out of it. They have everybody come to a stage and they drag them out and put on a show of the hostage. And Trump told, I'm going to, on the program later this morning, I'm going to play Trump's ultimatum. He says they have till Saturday noon. Now, I don't know if that means Eastern time or Gaza time, but they better figure it out because it's going to be it. If they don't release those hostages by noon on Saturday, it's all over for them. And Trump and Netanyahu have given every opportunity to Hamas to do the right thing. And Hamas, of course, is Iran. And Trump, he's had it with Iran, okay? Iran was trying to take him out. There was a story that came out yesterday that during the campaign, he was flying on a secret plane, not Trump Force One, because of the Iranian squads in this country. So both Netanyahu and President Trump have been more than patient with Iran. Hamas is Iran, always remember that. And as much as they want them out of the picture, they've given them every opportunity. And my guess is the reason he gave them till noon on Saturday, and again, we don't know if that's noon Eastern time, DC time, or Gaza time, either one, is to give Pete Hegseth a time and the Israelis time to organize their response. It is going to be a shock and awe campaign like we had in Iraq before the invasion of Iraq and the both Gulf Wars. Yeah. That's it. And why should they not? I mean, why do they have these hostages? If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. On my next stream, I'll be taking live calls. You can call me on the air and we'll talk about it. But why do they have any hostages? We don't have hostages. We don't hold hostages. Well, Biden was holding hostages in the D.C. Gitmo from January 6th. But short of that, we don't hold hostages in this country. Enough. It's got to end. It's got to end. And it's going to end Saturday at 12:01. President Trump has been an anti-war guy his entire life, going back to Vietnam. They have no business having a single hostage. The prisoners that Israel has, those are like terrorists. These are innocent people that were either at the music festival or just at home. Early in the morning and were kidnapped. It's crazy. These are these are terrorists. Yeah. Candace, so I don't know if I'm going to get to this on the show today or not. But Candace Owens, who is anti-Semitic, a few months ago was getting into Holocaust denial. And now she's talking about how the Israelis were behind 9/11. Wow. She's just really lost her mind. President Trump did not give such a strong ultimatum from the Oval Office at his desk without an intention on following up on it. It's not going to be us. It's going to be Israel. Our forces will be on alert and on standby, but he is giving Netanyahu the green light to do what they got to do. Now, Canada's not going to be the fit. We don't want Canada to be a state. They'll get 2 senators and a whole bunch of House members. It'd mess everything up. They could become a territory. Wouldn't mind that, but not a state. No, there's a difference. Territories don't have senators and House members. They can vote, and they can't vote in the general election either. So we don't want those socialists messing up our Congress. We can make them a territory like Puerto Rico. Those colonies should have joined the 13 colonies that rebelled against England, and they'd be part of the United States already. Yeah, he did. I'm going to play the audio on the next stream. President Trump actually did say that. I'll play it. Canada's in trouble, though, because President Trump with just signing an executive order or two could just collapse their entire economy. However, this anti-Semitism that's going on in this country, that Candace Owens is a part of, is really sad. I mean, it's really disgusting. She does not seem like a sane person to me, Candace Owens. She seems to have some psychological issues that she is really channeling through this anti-Semitic thing that she's doing, and I guess she gets worse all the time. She's running out of the anti-Semitism false stories to grab onto. She's gotten into all of them. Holocaust denial, the Liberty, now 9/11. Candace Owens has there's a couple possibilities. I mean, there's one that she's just, was the possibilities with Candace Owens, like what's happened to her, people say. There's several possibilities, okay? One, she's very angry at the Daily Wire, and I don't know about Jeremy Boring's background, but she's channeling it through Ben Shapiro, and that has brought out this anti-Semitic thing. Maybe she can't contractually go after Ben Shapiro. I don't know. That's a possibility. Another possibility is she's a crazy person, and she's not in control of her mind, and that's what's causing it. Another one is she's always been an anti-Semite, and Candace Owens is very charismatic. She's very pretty. She's she's well spoken, right? And you factor all that in with the fact that she was black and she came out at the right time, during the Trump first term, and she got elevated so high, and she hid this anti-Semitism because she was chasing clout, which she got, and she's very successful and popular and wealthy and everything else. And this is something she's always had inside of her that, she's kept quiet. And now that she's a superstar, she thinks, she could say and do anything, and she's going to have support, and maybe she will. There's a lot of anti-Semites out there, sadly, and maybe she's going after this untapped audience of Muslims around the world and everything that hate Jews. I don't know. But her latest thing is really twisted. It's believed that the first person to die on 9/11 was a Jew, from one of the planes that was hijacked, who made a move on a plane. It's really sad, but she's been dropped by MAGA long ago. It's really sad. She's the new Kanye. I don't know. I don't think she's a sane person. She seems crazed to me, and she gets these obsessed things like she's, and also she's a clout chaser. So, she'll do things just to get views too. I'm not saying she's doing this anti-Semitic thing just to get views, but she's doing something. And like, I give an example, this obsession she has with Macron's wife. It's an interesting story, but I don't care too much about it. However, there's a lot of people in other parts of the world outside the United States who very well may care about that. So she may be doing that Macron story, which she may be right. She may be, I don't know if she's right or not. And it is interesting. I don't want to say it's not interesting, but she dedicates a lot of time to it. And there's an audience for that, I'm assuming, right? And that's what she's doing. Going after that audience. And it very well could be that's what she's doing with the anti-Semitism too. My recollection with Candace, what is the guy's name? What's the guy? He started out on Periscope. He's an attorney. He's conservative. I cannot remember the guy's name to save my life right now. He was on 60 Minutes once, years ago. Oh, I cannot remember his name. If I saw it or heard it, I would know it in a second. I haven't thought about him in a while because he's not out there as much as he used to be. Oh, I can't think of his name. But anyway, Candace Owens, when Trump first started running for president, was a never-Trumper. And if you dig deep online, you may be able to find some of that stuff. I don't know. I haven't looked at it in a long, long time. And she was on Periscope. Oh, you guys know, a lot of you know who I'm talking. I just cannot remember the guy's name. He's a lawyer, Republican in California. He started out on Periscope. You hear about him every once in a while. He was on 60 Minutes once, years ago. Oh, what is his name? It's killing me. If somebody in the chat said his name, I would know exactly who it was. I just cannot remember his name. But anyway, she was on Periscope, as was Jack Posobiec, by the way, which doesn't exist anymore, Periscope. I was on Periscope at the time. That's why I know. I have a pretty big following on Periscope. He's probably about my age, in his 50s. Oh, it's killing me that I can't remember. I haven't thought about him in a long time. I used to watch him on Periscope all of the time. Occasionally, I'll see him on social media these days. I don't know where he's at beyond that. But anyway, she was on Periscope, and he kind of discovered her on Periscope. And, there was a movement at the time, Cernovich, that's right. Thank you, JP. Cernovich, that's correct. Cernovich, my recollection is, now maybe this is wrong, because it's been a long time, he discovered her on Periscope and elevated her. But at that time, during the first Trump campaign, she was a never-Trumper when it first started. But there really was, I hate to use this term, but it's almost like a casting call for black conservatives to come out and support Trump. And it was a big thing. And at that time, if you were a black MAGA person, you shot up in popularity. And that's where she came from. So I don't know if she was ever the real deal or not. I don't know. She's had a lot of success. I mean, you can't knock that, But this anti-Semitic thing that she's doing and these Israeli conspiracy things she's doing are out of control. Cernovich, that's right. That's him. I don't know what Cernovich is up to. I always liked Cernovich. Well, welcome, Moon Child Pink, a new subscriber. Welcome to the channel. You'll love this. On my next stream, I'll be taking live calls on the radio. Yeah, Cernovich. I don't know what. Every once in a while, I'll see him on some post on X, but I don't know too much about what he's up to these days. Cernovich, yeah, Cernovich discovered her. Yeah. I remember Jack Posobiec started out on Periscope, too. Periscope was amazing. The first day that Periscope was a live streaming app that was done by Twitter. And the first day Periscope was available, I set it up. And I had a huge following on Periscope, but and I really and it was totally unregulated. It was the wild west of the internet. It was like dark web kind of stuff. It was the stuff that was on Periscope was insane. There was no oversight. There was no regulation. Everything, I mean, it was crazy. But at the time, to YouTube, to live, at that time, I was on YouTube, but I didn't really use YouTube. I only had a couple hundred subs, less than 300 subs. And at that time on YouTube, to live stream, you had to have 10,000 subscribers. Now you got to have 1,000 subscribers, and I still need the 4,000 hours of watch time to live stream. I can't remember, but you have to have at least 1,000 subscribers to live stream. But back then you needed 10,000 subscribers on YouTube to live stream, and Periscope you could live stream with no subscribers. So I started doing it, and I had a really big channel on Periscope. And Candace was there, Cernovich was there, Jack Posobiec was there, and I would say Cernovich was, when it came to politics, Cernovich was number one on Periscope by far. And then there was another group of us: Candace Owens, Jack Posobiec, me, and a few others. And that's how I met Laura Loomer, was through Periscope. She was on Periscope, and that's how I got to know Loomer. Is she was covering the Vegas incident, and that's how her and I how I connected with her, was through Periscope. So there was a bunch of people that were on Periscope, and she was one of them, and she's turned it into a lot of success and money. I don't know how this anti-Semitic thing's working for her, but she's at it again. Not as good as the Macron. The Macron wife story is interesting, don't get me wrong, but she spends too much time on it. But this is it. Trump gave the ultimatum that they've got to release those hostages by noon on Saturday, or that's it. And believe me, Netanyahu wants to go in there and take care of business. So that's what I'm going to lead with today, and I'm going to play some of the audio from President Trump. He did the interview with Bret Baier, but he also did a unscheduled press conference in the Oval Office, which was really more interesting than the Bret Baier interview, and a lot of it. So I'm going to play clips from both of those and talk about them. And I love what our Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, did yesterday. And it shows how smart people in the Trump administration are. I'm going to talk about this too on the show. So they renamed Fort Bragg again. Now, the original Fort Bragg was named after a Democrat Confederate general. All the Confederates were Democrats. And that's the excuse they used to change it to Fort Liberty, which really the liberals stand for the opposite of liberty. They stand for tyranny. And he changed it back to Fort Bragg, but he named it after another Bragg, a World War II PFC hero that was also, whose last name was Bragg. And it's Fort Bragg again, just named after a different Bragg, which that's fine. That's fine. It's pretty clever because they can't use the race card to change the name back in the future. Whatever a DEI hire is, Pete Hegseth is the opposite. Pete Hegseth, he's a lot of snowflakes and Gen Z won't get this, but he is what's known as a man's man, and he's kind of like the closest living real-life John Wayne in America, no doubt about it. So I thought that was a pretty clever move, and I'm glad he did it, because a lot of these, most of these things that Democrats want to rename because they're named after a racist, or they want to take something down because they were a racist or did something, they're all Democrats. The Democrats have been trying to wipe out their history by renaming army bases and taking down monuments. They're all named after Democrats. He was actually a major, and he seems pretty damn qualified to me. I think it was Obama picked a guy who was an enlisted man to be defense secretary. And I remember the media thought, oh, the first enlisted man to lead the Defense Department. How exciting. He's doing a damn good job. He knows the military, man. You know, it's an interesting thing because I've heard every Secretary of Defense pretty much my entire life talk to the press and everything else. He's the only one that talks like a military man. The rest of them talk like congressmen. They say a lot of words, but they mean nothing. And when he's talking, he uses all the military lingo and abbreviations and all that stuff. You know, I mean, you can tell he really has an understanding of the military, unlike these politicians. And once you get to the rank of above major, right? I don't know if it's lieutenant colonel or full colonel, but once you get above major, which is what he was, it's very political. And all the generals and admiral promotions are done through congressional committees. So all those people are politicians. We don't want a politician. Oh, yeah, he's the most qualified for what Trump wants. I give you an example. Yesterday, I was watching, I'm way behind on my coffee, so my mind's not quite woken up yet. The housing secretary, did you see? He was reporting from the hurricane zones on Fox yesterday, and he was a Fox guy too. And when I was watching it, I was telling my wife, I said, you know, it looks like he's the Fox News. Harris Faulkner was interviewing him from the site. He was holding the mic. He didn't have a reporter there. And I said, he looks like the Fox News correspondent on the scene. Yeah, Sean Duffy. And when he was talking, I kept waiting for him to say to Harris Faulkner, back to you, Harris. It was really amazing. There's a Radio Hall of Fame. I should be in it, so should Steve Kane. Steve Kane should definitely be in it. I don't know about me, but Steve Kane should be in it. You get in the Radio Hall of Fame by donating tons of money. That's how you get in the Radio Hall of Fame. But Steve Kane should most definitely be in it. I don't know how much money it takes. I guess I can ask Michael Savage because he made his way into it. Michael Savage would know how much money you got to give to get in the Radio Hall of Fame. But yeah, Sean Duffy. Did you guys see Sean Duffy with Harris Faulkner yesterday? Have you ever seen a cabinet member like that? President Trump hired people with this TV experience because you've got to be good on TV. They're as good on TV as President Kennedy or better because they have the training and the experience. And you need to be good on television to make your case. You know how many, if you go on YouTube, you know how many YouTube videos there are about how to talk on camera, how to talk on YouTube, how to be natural, you know? And to me, I've been doing this my whole life. So at this point, it's natural. I don't know another way to talk. You know, you hire people that don't have public speaking or camera or TV experience, and they can't make the case as well as Sean Duffy. The housing secretary yesterday was, transportation secretary, was just amazing. Amazing. Art Bell is probably in there, yes. What usually happens is the big money syndicators put up the money to get people in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, I'm comparing Sean Duffy's television gravitas to that of President Kennedy's. Absolutely. If you go back and if you did not see it, when I end this stream, you know, the next one will be at 6. Go online and watch his interview with Harris Faulkner. You've never seen a member of any presidential cabinet like that. It was amazing. It was really amazing. And it shows that Trump hires, of course, the best. Oh, man. But I'm going to start with the Trump interview and press conference yesterday. And then we'll get into some of these other things because there's so much to cover. I'm going to start with the clip of the president talking about Hamas has till noon Saturday to turn over all the hostages. That's what I'm going to start with. Then I'll get into some of the others. If you're new to my channel, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe, okay? And I'm heading off to get coffee. Here, I'll put the phone down while I'm doing that. We'll go to dark MAGA mode. Let me finish off this coffee here, and then we'll go and get more coffee. I wanted to finish that one so that I don't spill it in my car. All right. All right, here we go. Dark MAGA mode engaged. And I like how, President Trump had a lot of kind words for the great work that Elon Musk is doing. So it's going to be, there's so much going on. And, in the Bret Baier interview, because it was done, Super Bowl weekend, he made a football analogy about how he's, I don't know, I can't remember the exact terminology, but some football play analogy as to how he's moving so forward. He's got this offense going of just nonstop doing things. I mean, here we are, what are we, 3 weeks in now? And there's never been a president move this fast. And I got to say, I was watching, I love President Trump during those executive order signings that turn into press conferences. And I don't know the name or the job position that guy has that hands him the executive orders, but I like that guy. He does such a great job of explaining what the president's about to sign. And you remember, part of the reason they do that is, well, in large part, so that we know what he's signing. So the press and the media and the American people know what he's signing. And then it turns into a little discussion about the orders. That's the main reason. But the second purpose of that is, if you remember, Biden had a stack of executive orders, and he even said on television he didn't even know what they were. He was just signing stuff. I mean, it was crazy. But I was watching yesterday, I don't know if any of you have this experience, but I was watching him yesterday at his desk in the Oval Office signing these orders and talking to the press. And I said, I just can't believe he's back in the Oval Office, that he's back. No one ever comes back like this, Grover Cleveland, that was so long ago. It's surreal. It's really amazing. The Trump miracle. That's it. It's the Trump miracle. And it's awesome, but it's also insane, isn't it? I mean, do you get that same kind of feeling like, I can't believe he's there again? There's been a lane here by my house. It's been closed down for like 2 weeks for construction. I come here all different times of day and night, every day of the week. I haven't seen one damn construction worker. Looks like one of those USAID projects. I don't know what they're doing here, but they put up the barricade, shut down a bunch of lanes in a high traffic area, and then I've seen no construction crews come back, so I don't know what the heck they're doing. Hopefully they finish it soon. Make my life a little easier. Right now there's no traffic, but later there is. Well, the Trump Gaza plan is going to happen. I like how they're trying to get Trump to commit to bring Palestinians here. That's the last thing we need, are Palestinians from Gaza in the United States. That's the last thing we need. And did you see Tom Homan said yesterday on Fox that they found out who the leaker is on the ICE raids? and it came. They got the name. They know who it is, and it's someone inside the FBI. So they are. They're going to get him. It's going to be a high-profile arrest, I would imagine, because Pam Bondi's spoken out about it too. She said that the leaker is endangering lives. So it'd be very interesting. I mean, that's like a spy, really. It's going to be very high profile. They're going to throw the book at that person, and they're going to do that to send a message, because a lot of these people in the federal government are not obeying the commander-in-chief. They don't understand there's a new sheriff in town. But there's so much to cover. Oh my goodness. Busy, busy day of news. Just huge news stories. Now, if you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And on my next stream, which will be in about half an hour, I'll be on the radio and taking live calls. And no matter where you are watching, you can call me toll free. I get calls from all over America and the world. I saw also Big Balls from Doge got a big important job at the State Department. I was reading this morning. His name the rest of his life is going to be Big Balls, you know. He's a young guy too. His whole life he's going to be known as Big Balls. One day he'll get appointed secretary of something, and they'll tell us, oh yes, he was part of the Doge team. Then it also, someone wrote a fascinating article yesterday. Doge came out of that Government Accountability Office, and the Government Accountability Office is not new. It was started by Obama himself during the Obamacare era, because remember when the Obamacare website was a disaster, that people they paid to do it? It was a friend, I think, of Michelle's, and they didn't build the proper website. So actually, the Government Accountability Office was started by Obama's order and instruction. So this is not a new office that Trump started for Elon. Barack Obama started this office. So there you go. Obama started something that turned out to be good eventually when Trump became president. How embarrassing for Obama. Amazing to me how many cars are out on the road at 5:30 in the morning. Hopefully I'll get there before there's a line. I'm usually the first car, but I'm a minute or two late, so I may not be first today. If there's only one or two in front of me, that's fine. But if I have a bunch in front of me, that'll suck. Oh, good. No line for coffee yet. All right, guys, listen, I'm going to take off, but subscribe if you're new. And if you're already subscribed, please do me the favor of liking the video. I'll see you on the next stream. Take care.